What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu, Label Free. To live your best life, you must live label free. And I'm back with another incredible guest. Today's guest is a expert money coach. Now, I know all of you out there probably could use one of those, and a financial educator who teaches women how to master all areas of their finances, from budgeting and paying off debt to investing, building wealth, and retiring early. Please welcome Dr. Annie Cole. Dr. Annie, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you here. And I'm excited because I'm going to admit that I've had trouble with my finances probably my whole life, but it's only because I feel it's very generational. I have my parents struggled really bad, and like my mother was on food stamps. We had to go to the food pantry when I was little, when I was a teenager. And so I feel like that's followed me, and no matter how hard I've tried, and I don't make bad decisions, right? I'm not like out there spending crazy money and doing different things. And so what is it about women, even like myself, that kind of carry this with them throughout life?
We all have our money stories and they're all very different. But for women, a lot of them are the same and a lot of them come from our culture. So we're getting told we need to be good girls. We need to not be greedy. We can't want money. We have to also respect the men in our lives. We're taught that men will probably get married and the men will help take care of us. Yeah. And then if you come from poverty, oh my gosh, that can be something you hold on to for a really long time. When I got my first job and was making $26,000, I held on to that budgeting system and that spending system for a really long time, even when I made a lot more money, because it still was ingrained in me as a young adult. So, it comes from everywhere, from our parents, from our childhood relationships, from a lot of different places.
Yeah. So you mentioned a little bit about your background and like really sticking to a tight budget, not spending. So what made you get into this like focus area, this becoming an expert for women in regards to their finances and wealth and building, retirement and all that thing? Because it has to come from like a passionate place to want to help women, especially get them on the right path.
Yep. I've always been, if I look at my personality type, I've always been into psychology. I've always been the helper or the caregiver. So when I first went off to school, studied psychology and became a social worker and wanted to help people and still help people, but in a very different way. And it was actually just personal experience, from not making a lot of money. I quickly realized I couldn't do a lot with that salary. So I learned a lot on my own. I read a lot of books. I met with mentors. I went back to school, got additional degrees. I learned a lot about how to self-advocate. And then all of that just built this passion in me to say, I want to teach other women how to do this too, because they're missing out. And a lot of times it does come from the self-advocacy and we aren't taught to do that. So we think, oh, I'll just get that if someone recognizes me. Not always. Sometimes you have to ask for it.
So I love that you said that. So I was married before, like I have a whole story behind that. I don't want to get really deep into that. My late husband was a great self-promoter. I had no idea like how to do that for myself. And so when I had to start my life over after he left us, may he rest in peace, I had to teach myself how to become, you say self-advocacy, I call it self-promoting, but I really think it's one of the same, right? Learning how to be comfortable and confident in that 5-second elevator pitch, no matter what it is that you're doing, because we are just that's not ingrained in us. It's more acceptable for a man to do that. And I'm not man, woman. I'm not like this big feminist person, but it's just how we are programmed and these labels that are put on us. And so that we are kind of programmed to believe that that's not how we should be putting ourselves out there like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it comes from a lot of different places. We get a lot of messages, especially as women, and it can show up in little ways, not advocating for yourself, not believing you are capable of doing something, but also, especially when it comes to money, we might feel like, oh, I'm not going to ask these questions because I should have that figured out, or that might be a dumb question, or I'm not going to ask for the raise because, well, if my work was good enough, they would just give me a raise. Or, I have this title and I think I should get a title change, but I'm not going to ask because I don't want to rock the boat. So we just have these very people pleasing, again, good girl mentalities that we think are going to help us, but really That's not what men are doing. Men are out there
No.
pushing, and
Yeah.
then succeeding. And honestly, the more I've learned to self-advocate, I don't know if you feel this way, but you actually become really comfortable with it and it feels very natural. It doesn't feel pushy at all. It's just having open conversations where you know your worth and you ask for things, and
Yes.
it feels good.
Yeah. It took me a long time to get here, and I've been able to, so it's been interesting. Like, I've learned how to embrace that feminine side of myself, but also take that other side of self-advocacy, self-promoting, and not feel bad about it, because there's a certain level of comfortability, vulnerability, and confidence that are all kind of wrapped in one, where you're just like, here I am, love it or hate it. This is who I am. This is what I deserve. And I'm not going to accept anything less. And I think that that is a very powerful place to be. And I say vulnerability because you have to be vulnerable so that people see who you truly are when you are that confident and are okay with feeling that way.
Yeah. And it's also very vulnerable to ask for something and potentially get rejected. I will just say, I share this a lot because I want to be transparent as a coach and talking about money in my own life. I've asked for raises and gotten told no. I've applied to jobs and not gotten accepted. I've done all the things. And that's what's going to happen when you start taking those risks. You're going to have some successes and you're going to have some failures. So you do have to also embrace the fact that it's going to be raw. It's going to be vulnerable. You're going to open up some new parts of yourself that can be a little bit scary.
Oh gosh, yeah. But that's kind of part of like what allows that growth to happen, right?
Yeah.
And allows you to refine that self-advocacy and learning more about what's going to work for you and what you're advocating for yourself. So for me, it's this media space I've carved out and continue to grow. And it was a very uncomfortable journey. For you, you are a financial expert, money coach and financial educator for women, and kind of teaching them like the taboos around that. And so like, I'm sure you didn't hit the ground running.
No. No, I had many, many failures along the way. And, lots of times when I was still figuring it out, I launched my business. So I've been doing financial coaching. My business is Money Essentials for Women, and I launched it last year. And when I first started, I didn't know everything. I was just guessing and moving forward. And the passion really just was what led me. And I think for a lot of us, we just want to make a difference in the world. So we go and take these risks to move forward. And, but yeah, it's never going to look perfect. You're always going to take risks.
Do you, in part of working with your clients, do you work on that self-advocacy part?
Yes, I definitely do. I'm working with a client right now. We had a meeting today and we were talking about her own finances and where she wants to go. And really the conversation kept coming back to mindset of what is it that she wants? And then why is she making the decisions she's making? Because she's doing certain things that are helping her, but there's also certain things she's doing that are a little bit more on the people pleasing side and a little bit more of, I'm trying to take care of everyone. And the best thing I can do is this. So I don't want to get into too many details to protect her confidentiality. But yeah, every single client I have, half of the time, if not even less than half, is the number crunching. And way more than that is the conversation about behavior, mindset, our belief systems, all of those pieces, because that's what drives our behaviors. We can read all day long on Google how to set up a retirement account, that we should be investing more, that we shouldn't go into debt. Like, we know that stuff. We don't need more information. We need more internal motivation and a shift in mindset that actually makes us feel like we can make that happen.
Yeah, for sure. And so that makes me think like mindset and like generational curses with money. Do you ever talk about that? Because I do believe that that's a real thing. And I think that, you said being raised in poverty. I don't necessarily think I was raised in poverty. It was just mainly the struggle that I saw all the time. And I keep asking myself, and I've had incredibly successful times in my life. And then I've also come back to this place of struggle. And I'm like, I shouldn't be here anymore. And I constantly looking at myself, like, what am I doing? What are the behaviors that I'm doing that is allowing me to stay or keep coming back to this space?
Oh, absolutely. I have not talked about that nearly enough, but I'm fascinated by it because my background is in psychology, and there's just no doubt in my mind we are completely wired based on our history and how we were raised. And I just probably things that I'm not even thinking about that my mom and dad said or did in front of me are influencing everything I do. And it's all so subconscious. We probably aren't even aware of it. And we're just making these tiny moves in the world related to our finances. And it's all just spurring up from the generations before us.
So let's talk about behavior a little bit, like something that might be a common thread with mindset and behavior from our, like how we were raised. Do you see a lot of commonalities with when it comes to that? So if someone comes from like, a poverty background or more of a struggling background, or the mindset, like they're not worthy. I mean, those kind of have to like be very parallel.
Absolutely. And the funny thing is, it's usually one of two things. So either number one, someone was raised in an environment, so they act the total opposite because they say, I realized I never wanted to do that again, or I wanted to get out of that situation and be nothing like it. Or they're still doing the same things because it's become habituated. So it's really fascinating to see how people either they'll have the same experience potentially, but they'll go in two different directions based on how they interpret it, and then how their lifestyle kind of sets up the habits that they have. Also, the people that come into your life. If you have some really amazing people and mentors, they might guide you towards one direction, whereas someone else who, stays in their hometown, never really goes off to college or does whatever they think they want to do, they might feel more stuck and just have the same habits over and over again.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I find that fascinating, when it comes to money, because some people just seem like it comes so easily to them. And other people, it's always like they're doing all these amazing things, and that you're always hearing them. I have one girlfriend who's like, she does an amazing job with what she does. And like, she's always busy, but she's always struggling. And I'm just like, I would love to know like what's happening there, and why you're constantly finding yourself in this place, and so it's just, I feel like, because they say money is energy, right? And so, I mean, I'm sure for you're being such an expert in this area, I'm sure that where energy goes, money flows, right? Is that the saying? Or right?
Yeah.
And so let's talk about someone that comes to you that might not have a lot, or their finances are a mess. Does it take much to turn that around?
It really depends. And I would say it depends on the definition of turn it around also, because what everyone wants is the instant solution. And they either want to make more money, they want the debt to go away, or they want to be able to live the lavish life. Can you do that right away? Most of the time, no. But can you put yourself on a path of behaviors and habits that are planting the seed to make it almost inevitable that you will get there? Absolutely, you can shift that in a day. So I think that's what I love doing the most with people, is the financial planning piece of, you might feel like you have all these dreams and you have no idea how to get there, but do you know that we could put in place a plan today that would put you on the path to get there? And then the most important thing is staying motivated and finding ways to make that actually sustainable with your lifestyle. Otherwise, if you say you could get out of debt in 2 years if you pay $500 a month, but we're not addressing that the person isn't bringing in enough income, or already has some, spending habits and other things. If you don't address all those pieces and it's not sustainable, it's not going to work. So you can pivot in a moment, but then also have the long-term benefits.
Yeah, for sure. And you could be someone who's making hundreds of thousands of dollars and still not have a penny to your name, because your spending habits and your lifestyle is just so, like, you're just, you're imploding. You're your own worst enemy, right? So like, I mean, I'm sure you've seen both.
Yeah. I was having a conversation with quite a few different people today about this topic of focusing on income. I feel like that's all we talk about, especially on social media. It's like how to make 10K months, how to make all this money. There are so many people. Yeah, it's just constant. You can make so much money and not be happy. You can make a ton of money and blow it on things that aren't valuable to you. I mean, if you want to do a fun activity, or potentially a very opening, reflective activity, look at your last 30 days of spending and look at what you did with your money, because it's not just what did you make, it's what did you do, and what did money do for you? Is it getting you closer to your dream house? Is it getting closer to, being able to retire early and not having to work at all? Or are you really happy at work and then you spend time with your family and you get to cook amazing organic dinners with your husband or whoever it is? Those are the things that your money can do for you. So if we only focus on just making money, it might be for naught. And I think that I hope that shifts in the online space. I try to be really cautious. I talk a lot about how I was able to reach this $1 million net worth by the time I was in my 30s. But my biggest benefit is going on walks with my husband, doing the work that lights me up, having money as a safety net. It is not actually that dollar amount. So I hope that that's not what people take away.
Yeah. And that's very clickbait stuff that we see on social media.
Yeah.
I see it all the time too. And I'm just like, this is not realistic. And this, and it's just like, that's a great idea in your head, but I'm sure like what's behind it and what you'd actually have to do to get there is probably not attainable for most people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, there's very few people that are making that 10K a month by seeing that ad and clicking on it. And like you said, like the happiness piece. So I lived a bit lavish lifestyle, my previous lifetime with my late husband, and like, we didn't get to enjoy it. And I was miserable. We were miserable. Yeah. He needed his third kidney transplant because he was just like all we did was work. All we did was work. We lived in the 10,000 square foot home. We flew private, had the Ferrari, the Mercedes, all the stuff, but never really got to enjoy it and relax. And it was just like, I was very unhappy. I'm like, is this worth it? To me, it wasn't worth it. I have the experience and I can like reflect on it in that life that I had. A lot of people would never experience in their life, but I wasn't happy. Yeah. I'm happier now. Now. I'm like extremely happy. And I like, am I financially where I'd like to be? No. And I don't know if anybody's ever super satisfied with that, but the happiness piece is more valuable to me.
Yeah, it's so important. Actually, so I wrote and published my own book last year called 101 Ways to Build Wealth. And it was truly just all of the things that I learned in my own life that helped me build wealth. But there's 5 chapters, and I purposefully, the first chapter is vision and mindset, because I think this topic is so important. And if you do not have a vision and you just jump straight to creating income or trying to retire early or buy a boat, like whatever the thing is, it really will not matter. It won't matter. And we don't want to get to be later on in life chasing money for what? And then you didn't spend time with your loved ones, or you didn't take care of your health. There's ways to do both, but it really, if you start with vision, you might be amazed at what you come up with. Maybe you're like, actually, I hate what I'm doing. Like you said, maybe you have a lot of money, but you're actually not even happy and you want to make some shifts.
And that's a common thread with a lot of people that are on my show. They had these very high power jobs making a lot of money, and they just weren't satisfied. They're like, on the outside, everything looked great, but on the inside, I was just, very unhappy and miserable. And the one guy, he was a CEO of I can't even imagine what his salary was. I think he told me, I just don't remember. And he was just like, he became a terrible drug addict because he had so much money. He was so unhappy. And like, he started chasing that, right? Self-soothing. And on the outside, everything looked great. He's probably the envy of a lot of his friends, a lot of envy of his family. And here he is as a drug addict and chasing that high and just like really just spiraling. Right.
Yeah.
So that's not the answer. The answer to me is finding what you do, your passion, my passion, finding the happiness in that, and being able to set yourself up smart financially that is going to make sense for your life long term. So, do you have a success story of like maybe like a dramatic success story that you could share with us? No names, obviously, of someone that came to work with you, what the circumstances were and how you worked them through where they were and what they wanted to accomplish and what it looked like at the end.
Yeah. So I met with someone last year. We met and she immediately said, I want to talk about my finances. I used to be really on top of it. I let credit cards get the best of me. I have a ton of debt. I just want help getting out of it. And so we created this whole financial plan. I was so proud of her. So something that a lot of people don't know, you can negotiate your debt. Yeah. You can negotiate so many pieces of your debt. So you can call and get temporary hardship stops. So you don't have to make payments for a little bit. You can have interest moved further down the line. So you're not accruing a lot of interest. You can get payoff amount. You can do all kinds of stuff. So she went and one by one worked with all the different companies, laid out this entire plan to pay off her debt. And by the time we were done, it was like this super emotional weight had been lifted off of her shoulders because she knew exactly what she could do. Not only that, but she had a plan. I think during our last meeting, she was interviewing for a job. And then she also had a complete budget outlined for the next 3 months so that she knew what she could do moving forward to no longer be in debt and using her
Yeah.
credit card. So it was just such a cool thing, because it takes a lot of strength to face your debts.
Oh
and then she made this whole plan and stuck with it. And
she doesn't need you anymore, no?
No, and that's my goal. I don't want I want people to come in, we create a plan, and then you don't need me anymore. That should be the goal. There's some amazing financial planners, tax strategists, investment managers. You can work with those folks for a lifetime. That's not what my work is. My work is really being that you come in, we create a plan, I connect you with the people you need, and then I can be a lifelong support, but you're not going to need to work with me day in, day out for a long time.
I love that. Like, get in and get out. We want you to succeed. Okay. I actually had someone on the show. I had someone on the show that I recorded with, and he was really focused on building wealth within your family using like insurance policies. Do you ever introduce your clients with that? I was fascinated. I had never heard about that before.
I think it's fascinating. I don't talk about it because I'm really clear with everyone to say that my background is that I'm a data analyst and an educator. So I'm really great at crunching the numbers. I can teach you a lot about the basics. I'm not certified to talk about insurance or investment strategies. So I try to steer away from those. But personally, in my own life with my husband, we have had all the conversations about the different insurance policies and the coverage we can get. And it's fascinating. Yeah, there's a lot of different things you can do. And then even investing, I have my investments, my husband has his investments in the stock market, and then we also have real estate investments. Yeah. So there's just so many things you can do to build wealth.
Yeah, he was explaining to me like how you can invest in this policy and take a loan out on it that it doesn't affect your investment in the policy and it continues to grow. And I was just like, my head was spinning like, whoa, like sounds like something I should probably learn a little bit more about, because you start now and like, it just, I think there's so many secrets out there that people don't know that, that we could take advantage of once you get in a good place to do so though.
Yeah, it's little stuff, right? Like when I was learning about stock market investing, at first, I just leaned on my representative, right? The person you get assigned when you get a job, you meet them once a year, they tell you you're on track. But then later on, I realized, actually, whatever I'm invested in, it has an expense ratio, which is the amount of fees you're going to pay. And there are different expense ratios. You can invest in an index fund or an ETF, and I won't get into all the details, but you should look at what you're invested in and look at what the fees are, because you can pay so much money in fees if you're not aware of it. And a lot of people aren't, because
I know someone. I know someone I need to tell that to. I'm like, here, can you look into this for yourself? They're doing something right now with their investments, and I'm like, yeah, I need to just highlight that for them.
Yeah, fees are a big one. So either are you paying someone to actively manage your accounts? You can pay a fee for that, or you can self-manage. And then what you're actually invested in, if it's an individual stock, an index fund, an ETF, there's different types. Those will also have what's called an expense ratio attached to them. And so both of those things you should be looking at.
And then one out of those three, because it's three, right?
So ETFs are really affordable and have really low expense ratios. So I tend to lean towards ETFs. It just depends on your comfort level too. Do you want to have someone actively managing? Do you want to just invest in a fund that's following the market? There's just such a wide variety of things you can do. I have used advisors at times to meet with them and get some insights. I don't have someone actively managing my portfolio, but you might decide that you want to do that.
Yeah. I used to be very I'm just digressing, but I used to actually understand stocks a lot more when I was like in my early 20s. If I looked at that today, I would have no idea. Like I should have really stuck to that. Like that was a skill set I had. I just was like, I lost interest because it wasn't exciting to me in my early 20s. I'm like, I want to go party and I want to be like, woohoo, out there, out and about. But I was good at it. I was actually making a little bit of money with it, and then I let it go. I just stopped. But
well, and I am definitely on the lazy investor side. I will invest in ETFs and let it sit for decades. So I've never done stock trading. That's definitely not my approach. But again, it comes back to who you want to work with. What's your risk level? Are you looking for some immediate returns? And you can find the people that will meet the kind of investments you want to do.
Yeah. So what does it look like if someone like is listening to this or watching this and they're like, oh, Dr. Annie, she knows a lot and I'd feel comfortable working with her. What does that look like if they were to reach out to you after listening to this or watching this?
There's quite a few different ways that we can work together. So number one, my book is the easiest do-it-yourself method. So you can buy my book on my website. Again, it's 101 Ways to Build Wealth. It just covers anything and everything you can think of when it comes to making money and building wealth. So I definitely start there. The other thing I offer on my website is a budgeting template, and it's actually a template, but it comes with 2 hours of videos. And so it's me walking you through how to create a financial plan. It touches on your debt, your income, your retirement. It's really cool. It's like a big financial plan all in one, but you can do it from the comfort of your own computer. And then if you don't want to do the do-it-yourself, if you want to actually work with me, I do also do 30-day packages where I will work with folks and we'll do a series of meetups and we'll do an audit of your finances, we'll do goal setting, and then we'll also create a really robust financial plan.
I love it. Awesome. So a little something for everyone. And like their comfort zone, like just to tip their toe in, like maybe high level, like get your book, do the budget, watch the videos, or like work with you directly.
Yep, absolutely.
I love that. Where can people find you, connect with you, and learn like where all these fun things are at? Where is it all stored at?
Yeah. The best spot to go is my website. So it's money-essentials.com. Everything is there. You'll find my Instagram, my LinkedIn link there. We do a ton of online events. So I definitely want to mention that because I connect with experts from all sorts of spots. We have tax experts, debt, business, side hustles, career growth. We have people that come in. I think we have about 15 workshops coming up in the next 2 months alone. These people just run free virtual workshops for women about money topics. So it's all on the website. Check it out, free to sign up, and you can just come learn about whatever topic fits you.
Yeah, I love that. That's amazing. You guys, I'm gonna put the link. I'll put a few of her links in the show notes. So if you want to learn more of working with Dr. Annie, purchase her book or get that budget in the videos, go to her website, go click the link, go give her a follow, and reach out to her if you're interested in learning more of working with her. She's very lovely. I'm sure you would be. It doesn't hurt just to have the call and see where it goes, especially if you're a female and dealing with some financial stickiness, since she's going to help you get unstuck.
Yep, absolutely.
Dr. Annie, this is the part of the show where I like to ask for last words of wisdom or advice. What would you like to leave with us today?
The one that's been coming to my mind lately, someone asked me about a phrase that I've been really chewing on, and I keep coming back to, why not me? And I think that is something that a lot of women don't ask themselves because they think that's a little selfish or greedy or a little mightier than thou to think, well, I can do anything. But honestly, I want you to think, why not me? Why not me being capable of becoming the first millionaire in my family, building this business, moving to Italy, whatever it is you want. There's nothing about you that makes you less than any other person. And there's nothing bad about having these really extravagant, amazing dreams. So just let that sit. Even if it doesn't feel like you believe it yet, let it sit and mull that over.
I love it. That just gave me goosebumps. But again, kind of going back to the self-advocacy part, why not you?
Yeah.
You are totally worthy.
Yes.
You're totally worth it. And just like, wherever you are in your journey, just know that you are worth whatever dream that you have, and it is possible. So Dr. Annie, such a pleasure. Thank you so much for the work that you do, being here today, sharing your gifts with us, and looking forward to seeing some of those online events. I might be jumping in one here and there and hoping it helps. I got a little stickiness. I'm not going to lie. I'm completely transparent. Okay. So I am not better than anyone else. And so I'm here to learn just like you. So don't hesitate to click those links and reach out to her. But it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for being an incredible guest. And till next time.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks so much.
You're welcome. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate, review, comment, share, all those good things. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.